Brogan. My name is Ken Nash, and I'm the president of the Association of Pennsylvania State College and University Faculty. Today, I stand before you prouder than ever to represent the approximately 5,500 faculty and coaches who are at the core of the 14 great universities that comprise our state system. Last month, your faculty and coaches watched with both bewilderment and anger as Chancellor Brogan and others represented the system in front of the House and Senate. The comments and questions, particularly in the Senate hearings, we felt demonstrated a shocking ignorance of the workings of the system and displayed a palpable disdain for your faculty and your coaches. On the bright side of that, we were glad that we were defended at the Senate hearing by one current member of this board, and then after the hearings by a former member of the board. More frustrating even than several senators' posture was the fact that these unwarranted attacks went unanswered, and in several instances were even fueled by the state system's responses. While we empathize with the difficulties surrounding giving testimony at a legislative hearing, and I personally sympathize with those difficulties, nevertheless, your faculty and your coaches deserve better. Further, our students and our alumni deserve better. I don't think that anyone should be surprised that hearing one of our colleagues referred to as an old dinosaur would be viewed as hostile. I don't think that anyone would be surprised at our frustration when stories are made up about meetings that did not take place. I don't think anyone should be shocked to learn that we believe that when senators make the argument that faculty work only 17 hours a week, that we would be irate and that we would expect to be defended. Those comments disparage my colleagues, Pennsylvania citizens and taxpayers, and the fact that they went unanswered is simply inexplicable. The same calculus that leads to the conclusion that faculty work 17 hours a week would be the same that would lead someone to assert that a senator works only the relatively few session days in a year. But we know better than that. We know that the job of the senator includes committee work, preparation, constituent service, public speaking, etc., etc., etc. And senators should know that the job of a faculty member extends well beyond the 12 hours of class time and 5 required office hours. Our work includes countless scholarly endeavors, committee work, advising, overseeing extracurricular activities, etc., etc., etc. It includes the type of mentoring in the sciences that everyone applauded yesterday. In fact, there's a report filed every year that reports on the number of hours that are worked by faculty, and that report, which is mandated by the General Assembly, reports that faculty work about 50 hours a week, every single week. Similarly, a point was made to so-called educate a student that a coach made $400,000 last year. That was not education. That was misinformation. The system knows full well that the coach does not make $400,000 a year. That money was the result of an arbitration award that spanned years, and it was a one-time award. It happened to go to a coach who runs a summer program that brings thousands of young people to campus, and it has made his university millions of dollars in the process. So it is that someone's hard work and entrepreneurship is ridiculed. More typical than that coach is the one coach who approached me last week at one of our universities in the western part of the Commonwealth. That coach told me that because of cuts to his program, he was now paying out of pocket for recruiting trips for his team. Coaches scrambling for money, for referees, for scholarship money, for the basic needs of their sports, and going the extra mile for their student athletes. These are the common and accurate stories of our system. And these are the stories that were not told. We are upset to hear by implication at those hearings that Cheney was something akin to a supermarket. It was an unfortunate analogy, but we were equally concerned by a response that pinned Cheney's troubles solely on a lack of enrollment. That Cheney's enrollment is too low is common knowledge, but a truer response would be that a long list of public officials and this board are culpable for Cheney's woes. For decades, this board substituted stage whispers and scorn for actual scrutiny. Things were allowed to occur at Cheney University that would never have been allowed to occur at any other university. Students at Cheney have been deprived of the resources that would have been demanded at other universities. And frankly, the other universities of this system benefited for years from that deprivation of resources. To hear concerns raised now about having to subsidize Cheney ignores the past that was discriminatory and inexcusable. Further, any suggestion that Cheney should be closed proposes a disservice to the hundreds, if not thousands, of potential students in the Philadelphia area that could not only be served by Cheney, but who need the type of community and alumni network that Cheney provides. The time has come to stop beating up on that university. It is time to build it up. It's time to provide access to the students of the Commonwealth. Speaking of access, a question was raised about why my association opposes per-credit tuition plans. And I call them plans, not pilots, because in the academic world, they are not being run by anything understood to be a pilot. We oppose those plans, some may argue counter to our own self-interest, precisely because we believe in public higher education. We believe in our legislatively mandated mission to provide a quality education at an affordable cost. Stripped of the false advertising, these pilots amount to simply substantial tuition increases. One does not have to be a mathematician to do simple arithmetic. It takes 120 credits to graduate. Over the course of 8 semesters, that is 15 credits a semester. Charging per credit means a 16%, a 25%, or even a 50% tuition increase for our students. At one time, the Commonwealth subsidized 75% of the student's education. Now it's below 25%. What will it be after these plans take place? At a time when the issue of student debt is a matter of national debate, our universities will be substantially increasing that debt. How many students will be priced out of their universities? We have now heard several administrators talk about how their universities could afford to lose students but still bring in more money. Somebody has the notion of public higher education terribly wrong, and I don't think it's my association. Rather than preventing students from grazing the academic vineyard, these plans are likely, in fact, to discourage students from double majors, discourage them from taking minors, discourage them from taking difficult courses that they may not at first do well in, and encourage them also to avoid majors in disciplines that might require additional credits. I can go on and on and on about the tone of the attacks at that hearing and the failures to respond on behalf of our faculty and our coaches. Next year will be the 80th anniversary of my association's existence. That means it existed long before we were a collective bargaining organization. It was my organization that worked with legislators and past governors of both parties to build this system, to build our universities from normal schools to colleges and then to universities. And it seems now that the reward for our hard work is simply ridicule. It seems that we can expect no adequate defense from the people who we work for and who we think and we thought together with to make our universities the best that they can be. Now, we've been working without a contract for nearly a year, and we were surprised at those hearings to hear concerns about our contract raised in the legislature that were never raised at the table during negotiations during any course of that year. This weekend, our association is having its legislative assembly. And together, that is, you and I will learn what steps my association may take because of what our perceived lack of respect for my colleagues and for your employees. Thank you very much for your attention.